In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I talk with Sebastian Maniscalco once again, along with Omar J Dorsey and Chuck Lorre, all about season 2 of Bookie. And I talk with executive producer extraordinaire, Andria Parides. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Net. Hello, and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I thank you, as always, for hanging out with me for another episode. In this episode, we have all sorts of cool stuff coming, and I speak once again with Sebastian Maniscalco, who, you know, I spoke with him a couple of times for his film about my father in Chicago. The film's called About My Father. I talked to him in Chicago, and his co-star, Omar J Dorsey, who he stars in the series Bookie with on HBO and Max. Bookie is so funny. It's got heart. It's just a great show. So I talk with those two, as well as Chuck Lorre, who you may know from like every giant sitcom ever, as well as Nick Bakay, who created the show with Chuck Lorre. And I talk with Andria Parides, who is a well-known and well-respected executive producer of live events. She has done every major live event you could think of, from the Met Gala to People's Choice Awards, MTV, all kinds of stuff. She is an awesome person, and we are going to start with her. So Andria Parides is an accomplished TV producer. Her career is a testament to the power of vision, perseverance, and creativity. Andria has been at the helm of some of the most compelling television and live projects, working tirelessly to turn ambitious ideas into must-watch programming. I mentioned at the top of the show that she has been an executive producer on the People's Choice Awards, People's Choice Country Awards, Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards, iHeartRadio Music Festival, MTV Movie and TV Awards, and so much more. She's got incredible insight into, live entertainment that nobody else would be able to give the insight that she does, because she's at the top of it. She has a deep understanding of storytelling and an unmatched ability to lead production teams. She's navigated the fast-paced world of TV with expertise and flair. And from balancing the creative process to managing complex logistics in live entertainment, she has a wealth of insights to share with you about what it really takes to produce captivating TV and captivating live entertainment. So sit back, relax, and get ready to hear from one of the brightest minds in television production, Andria Parides. First of all, thank you so much for joining me, Andria Parides. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me. It's lovely to be chatting with you.
Yes, you as well. So you have a very interesting career. You're an EP, you're a producer, you've done all kinds of things. Tell me what you do.
Well, I would say my resume says that I'm a live producer first and foremost. So like big award shows, concerts, live sporting events, that kind of thing is like my specialty. But I love the development side of things and coming up with show ideas and hopefully seeing them into fruition when you could sell an idea. But yeah, I was at MTV for 15 years. So across like the VMAs and movie awards and red carpets and hip hop honors and all of that good stuff. So that's kind of where I grew up, as I like to say. I grew up on the extension of college at MTV.
I love that. And how did you get into this? How did you get into this field?
Well, so my sister is also a TV producer, but she's in the talk show space, which is very different. But I always loved music. I play the piano. And for me, growing up, I also loved like WWF, like professional wrestling, WWE. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I was like, how can I take like all these things that I like and, get paid for them? So
Right.
I majored in communications and then I interned at MTV and then I stayed there for 15 years. So that's kind of how I did it. It was just like, what do I love and how can I make that into reality?
That's so awesome. And you have done so well with it, producing some of the biggest live shows around.
Hey.
And you're Emmy nominated, right?
Yes, yes.
Which
That
is
was for,
like crazy.
yeah, it's kind of it's really lovely when you could see it's like so much hard work go into something and it's not just like I'm one person, right? There's 10 million people that add into everything and it's really lovely when you could be recognized, but also when you're just putting out content that can make a difference in the world as well. And I think some of the projects that as I've gotten later into my career, it's luckily you can start to like pick and choose on what you want to work with and who you want to work with and what that looks like. So it's nice to be able to, well, I always said while every Jersey Shore hit I produced, there was a Trailblazer Honors that was really lovely to put on because you're putting good out into the world. So it's nice to be able to see a little bit of that get recognized.
Yeah, for sure. And what's interesting, about you saying that is, I've thought about this with my show and the platform, the pop culture platform. And, I've thought at the end of the day, like, does it really matter what I do? And, I've gone back and forth. I don't focus on gossip and all that. I'm not looking to tear people down. I've had people come, celebrities come and open their heart, and that's fine. I'm always looking for a redemption story and for people to tell their story in their own words because other people can learn from that. And then at a more different level, but in the same sort of show, sometimes we're just talking about projects.
Right.
Here's Robert De Niro talking about his new film. Here's the thing, though. It is what I've kind of learned for myself is that it is a escape for people. And it might be for a 20-minute conversation. It might be for a 8-minute video, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if that can bring them some joy in their day from all the chaos around us constantly, then like that is pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think it's, we're not doctors, we're not scientists, we're not changing the world in that capacity, but I think we're providing relief to a lot of people from their everyday lives and from the stress. And I remember during the pandemic, like I was busier than ever because I was working for a startup like live stream company and like everybody was live streaming. So it was nonstop and busy and hectic. But then at the end of the day, it's like you see all these people in the comments being like, this was the best 45 minutes of my day, or this was like the best couple hours of my day because I just got to like stop thinking about what was going on and really just focus on like taking a breath and, hanging out with my virtual family. So it's things like that where it's like, again, we're not curing cancer, but we're also, maybe putting a smile on somebody's face if we can.
Yeah, which is like, to me, that's huge because, there's been so many. I mean, it's probably similar to you. I'm talking for you, and please correct me. But like growing up, I was such a media hound.
Totally.
I would watch, all the shows and all the movies and, buy the books and the graphic novels and all that stuff. And that was my escape growing up. And, I've grown into somebody that now is getting paid to do it.
So cool.
Which is awesome. But it's like my little show may be an escape for somebody else. And that is really super powerful,
Absolutely. And like, if anybody can understand it, we can because we were fans, right? And like we are fans. So there's this like relatability and understanding what we're putting out there because, we were those kids that were like, I have to know all about it. I want to know all the stats. Like, I want to know all the details. Who's on that red carpet? What are they doing over here? And like, the coolest thing ever is to be part of that for somebody else and to be like, oh, maybe, maybe I can make I don't want to say a dream come true, but maybe I can make somebody have a little bit more information on something they wanted or a little bit show their artist in a different way and see, oh, I got to see that song that they performed and I've never seen it before. And we were able to do that. So I totally get that. It feels like we're lucky enough to have been fans and to still be fans and to be able to put that energy out there for people.
For sure. And then, with you also, it's cool because as you were saying, you're at that point where you can kind of pick your projects and you can do something fun and live, like a live award show, but then you can do something inspirational that, maybe brings a tear to your eye with an honor show or whatever. So it's like
Totally.
the range that you are able to do is pretty awesome. And I would assume it's very fulfilling for you as a creative.
Definitely. And I think like, being able to focus on certain topics that really are impactful. I have a project in development around mental health and like more than ever, it's like we've seen so many different celebrities speak out on mental health and trying to make it like less taboo. And I think that's so rewarding in the sense of like, whoa, okay, like we're shedding light to a topic that like maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you didn't want to talk about it. And then in the same token, I'm like, let's go People's Choice Awards. Let's have the most fun ever and get fan
Exactly.
voted stuff on. So it's a really, really nice balance to be able to have a little bit of everything in the mix.
I love that. And so you're doing a show, here you're here for the People's Choice Awards or
Yeah.
whatever one it is that you want to use for this example. But do you feel like I feel like the pressure, I would be like, oh my God. They don't even let me on live, by the way, on the radio. They put a delay on me because I sometimes have a potty mouth on accident. So like I can
7 second
imagine,
rule.
right. I can't imagine doing live television,
Yeah. It's like the biggest rush, though. That's what I will say. I'll say some people really like thrive under that pressure. And I like to think that I'm one of them because, one, it's like when you're live, that's over. When you're
Yeah.
when you're done, you're like, we're off air. We don't have to go into an edit. We don't have to like change anything up. I mean, sure, there could be tiny things you have to do for like a West Coast airing, but when you're live, you're in that moment. I'm in our host's ear. I'm telling them what's coming up next. Like we're hoping that everything is going accordingly. And it's really exciting because it's like you've worked so hard for so long to put all the right people in place to make this magic happen. And again, it's not one person, it's many people, it's many really talented people. And it's like putting all the puzzle pieces together. And then you're just like, let's go with it. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens. And stuff, sometimes you just have to throw everything up in the air. Like red carpets, it's like you can have a format and that's cool and everything, but like it's fake
Yeah.
because the second that carpet opens and you see who you're talking to and you're not talking to, it's like you'll always have guideposts to get you to where you need to go. And there will always be business that needs to be done, but you never know what's going to happen. And that's the wild part. Red carpets are always like, whoa, look,
Yeah.
let's see what happens today.
Yeah. And then of course you're dealing with talent and talent reps and
Yep.
managers and agents and lawyers and assistants and MUA teams and all. So literally anything can happen at any
Totally.
time. And I guess in your position, you have to be ready for anything.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has an opinion. That's for sure. Everybody
Yeah.
has like what they're looking for their, whether it's their artist, their talent, whatever it looks like. But what I like to always say in meetings is that like we have one common goal. Like I'm not against you, you shouldn't be against me. Like we want this to be a really successful overall show for everybody involved, not just for one person, not just for one act, not just for one big moment. It's like we're on the same team. Like, let's make some magic happen. Let's figure it out together. But yeah, it's a lot of the whole like, how do I finagle this and say this the right way? So there's not a lot of hurt feelings, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is something, you've done so much already and you're young. You have, a
So kind
long
of you.
time I mean, reality, I mean,
Yeah.
you have you have decades of continuing to work. So far with all you've accomplished, what is your biggest thing that you're like,
Yeah.
I did that?
Oof. Um, there's been a lot of moments where I've brought together different fandoms, which I think is really exciting. And like knowing how much that like I grew up on WWE and I love WWE, I've always tried to get their superstars into my programming. And a few years back, it might be 2019, I was at MTV still, and we were talking about like different categories for an award show. And one of them was brought up was like, let's think of like a best fight. And, our whoever was in charge at the time, he wanted to make it a little different. And so my boss at the time, she was like, what are some good examples that you can think of for this moment that feel different? And I was like, if we want to try to do something, why don't we do the first female main event of WrestleMania? And we got all of the women to be able to be nominated. They came to the show and it was exciting. And I think it's like, that's a small moment, right? But it feels like an impactful moment because probably not a lot of people would have thought about that. So there's little things like that throughout my career that have been really, really special. And I think I don't think there's like one overall show or one overall artist or anything like that. I think it's more of like these smaller moments that count a little bit more for me than like the bigger picture. I mean, I have like my favorite shows and things like that I'm super proud of, but I think it's just like being able to work with people in different capacities and being able to like tie in these different points of pop culture into your project is really, really rewarding.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. And has there ever been a time where you were like, wow, like that was by the seat of my pants? You know what I mean? Like, and not within even your control, but as we said, I mean, live broadcasts can go haywire.
Without mentioning names, we've had artists that haven't shown up. We've had artists that have decided they don't want to get out of their dressing rooms and they're missing their live hit. We've had people get sick right before the show and we have to replace them. So there's certainly like you can have backup plan on backup plan on backup plan and feel the most prepared in the world. And that's going to be the show where something goes wrong and you don't have that exact plan, right? But I do like to say that if we don't have a plan together, then something's absolutely going to happen. And if we do have a plan together, something's absolutely going to happen. It doesn't matter. So it's, you have to feel protected as much as you can, but that's, the skill set of myself and like the production companies I work with that know this and know how to pivot and know how to, make sure that all of our talent that's on stage, that our hosts are on stage, that they understand that anything can happen and anything will happen. And you roll with the punches, you just go with it. It all airs, right? It all gets there somehow.
What are you, what's the next projects that you can tell us about that are coming up in your immediate, or
semi,
the next year? Exactly.
So outside of like the big award shows that I do a ton of like talent consulting and I do a lot of show pitching because I think that I learned over the pandemic that I really like the development side of things. So that's been really exciting. And, in the immediate, I'm working with the brand. I'm going to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight in a couple days. And that's going to be gnarly and wild. Yeah. So that's, again, it's a little bit of like my background in the sense of it's entertainment, it's sports, and it's sponsorship, right? It's brand. Right. So I've done all of that for many years. So that's in the immediate. That's why I have some wrinkles under my eyes because I'm tired. Being in a couple days. And then I'm preparing for an event that is not televised, but it's a live event on the ground right before the Super Bowl, the day of, at the Super Bowl, at the venue, with a lot of NFL legends and music and like local things happening from the New Orleans side of things. So that's a big one that I'm looking into for our next quarter. But I do have a few interesting things up my sleeves that I can't announce quite yet.
Okay.
But exciting stuff. Like it's, I always feel like while there's certain shows that I feel like I can do and do well, and that's great, after a while, you're like, how many more of these am I going to do? Right. So I think it's always looking at things in the perspective of what's going to keep my brain working creatively and where am I going to get excited about? Like what's something that I can get excited about again? What is like just bringing something new to my world. So that's really like in between my larger shows. I probably do like 2 or 3 big shows a year. And then in between is when I like get to have a little bit more fun in the sense of let me play around, let me pilot in real time, let me partner with different people and see what makes sense. And again, like with the consulting I was mentioning, that's something that I love to do with different types of like artists and personalities and superstars and all that kind of stuff, because it's a completely different part of my brain that's working as opposed to when I'm just doing the live side of things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome. And it kind of sounds like, you can do these bigger shows throughout the year and then you get to like experiment, if you
Yeah,
will, and use like different parts of your brain and create different parts of your creative energies and kind of,
totally.
flex because you're a master at the big live shows. And so now
Yeah.
now you can be like, all right, like what's something I'm super passionate about that's outside of the box of what I normally do. So, I love
Totally. It
that.
like fills up my cup a little bit more, like
Right.
creatively. And like I'm allowed to like spend time in my passion projects and to really fulfill more of my side of things as opposed to doing this for a network or a streamer or somebody else, you know? And that's great. And I love doing all of that. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
this is when it's like, oh, well, let's have a little fun for Andrea.
Yeah.
Let's do a little of this over here and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's
Yeah.
okay. It's only myself, to blame on that end.
Right.
But it's so far it's been a very like healthy balance of that, and I feel very lucky to be able to do that.
That's so awesome. And finally, what do you think, where do you think in some ways, the TV industry is drastically changing, the
Totally.
broadcast industry. I think, a big saving grace has been live events, whether sports
Yeah.
or award shows or whatever. Do you see that over the next, whatever, 5, 10, 20 years
Mhm.
changing as well? And if so, like kind of where do you see that changing?
Yeah, it's super interesting that you say that because I think, it's a couple fold. There's a couple different things to think about, but something that everybody is like super concerned about is AI, right? Like it's a gift and a curse, honestly. Like it's incredible and amazing. And then it's also like frightening because you're like, how the heck is this happening, But I think in live events and in sports, it's such a safer place for AI. Like it's not something that they could truly take away jobs or anything like that. And I think if anything else, like AI is only additive to that lane. And listen, I'm not an expert on it, but it just feels like less of a risk with something that's happening in real time as opposed to something that is getting created along the way and it's a long process and it's an edit process and it just it feels like it's a little bit of a safer space. That being said, I think streamers are coming in like fast and furious with the live side of things. Like Netflix is making a really huge stamp and saying, we're experimenting here. We're going to do a lot of these different shows. We're looking for live. Same thing with Amazon. Same thing like with sports and live sports in general. Like it's interesting because linear always led. Like linear, that was like the phrase for half of my career. Linear leads, everybody else is the backup. That is so not the case at all anymore. And I think it's interesting to watch things evolve. I think live events will always be around, but I do think they're going to get specific on the approach on how live events are produced. Especially with the range of things. And I
Uh,
also think coming from like the network side of things, it's like if somebody says, "Oh, you need to cut your budget significantly," guess what? You're going to probably cut a tentpole because that's a lot of money and that's right out the door, one, two, three, as opposed to like deep diving into a lot of other things. But I think, more people are tuning into the Netflixes, more people are tuning into the Amazons of the world because these are now destinations for live.
yeah.
So I think like the past couple of years have been interesting seeing it all. And I only think I would say like the next 5 years, it's only going to get busier and busier and busier in the live space, hopefully, because that is good. That is job security.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's definitely a lane to watch because that's where the money has been getting greenlit lately, which is also bananas. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But it's definitely an interesting time. I think it's safer than it once was.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Where can we find you and follow you on all your adventures?
I mean, humbly, my Instagram name and across all socials is Andria the Coolest. Again, humbly. So it's my first name and then DA. And then it's, DACOOLEST. I won't change it because it's who I am at this
Yeah.
point. It
Yeah.
was like, It was my screen name on my sidekick. If I'm dating myself 100 million years, you could find me there across, Instagram, X, TikTok, all of those good places. And then, of course, on LinkedIn as just my professional self, Andria Parides. So
awesome. Andria, thank you so much. You got to come back and we'll talk more.
Yes.
And thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. This is awesome. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Andria Parides, besides being like a brilliant mind in entertainment and especially live entertainment and television, she's just cool. Like you just want to chill with her. And on top of that, she's a great person, like a super nice, awesome person. So we love you, Andria Parides. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, I'm going to speak with Sebastian Maniscalco, Chuck Lorre, Nick Bakay, Omar J Dorsey, all about season 2 of Bookies. Let's pay the bills, support our sponsors that make this show happen, and I'll see you in 60. Welcome back to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. Thank you for supporting our sponsors who make this show possible. Every single week, we continue to grow, and it's because of you and your support and all of the things, your socials, your emails, your voicemails that you leave. Some are very interesting, by the way. Oh, and if you want to leave a voicemail that may be featured on the show, if you're on the free iHeartRadio app, just use the talkback button, and that'll send me a voicemail. You have 45 seconds. If you're not on the free iHeartRadio app, go to podcast.popcultureweekly.com, and you can hit the voicemail button there, and that will send a voicemail to me. You have 60 seconds there, so choose your words carefully, or leave multiple ones. I probably shouldn't open it up to that. Anyway, in any event, let's get into the next segment. If you haven't watched Bookie yet, it is a sharp and darkly comedic series on HBO, and it dives into the chaotic world of sports betting, but it brings humor and drama to the game. It was created by the powerhouse duo Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay. It follows Danny, who is a small-time bookie that's basically just trying to stay afloat in the rapidly changing world of online gambling. So as he navigates a colorful cast of clients, some of which you may know, as well as personal struggles, and the looming pressures of a really cutthroat industry, Bookie offers a raw, witty, and compelling look at the ups and downs of chasing, ultimately, the American dream. It is really a great show. I look forward to it, and season 2 is here. Now, as I mentioned with Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay, they are two influential figures in the world of TV. They are known for their contributions to both comedy and storytelling. Chuck Lorre, who is often dubbed the king of sitcoms, is a prolific television producer, writer, and director behind some of the most iconic sitcoms of the past 30 years, including The Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, Mom. His ability to craft relatable, character-driven humor has really made him a household name and earned him numerous awards and accolades. And how often can you say that about a, TV writer, producer, director? Now, Nick Bakay is a very gifted writer. He's also a producer and an actor. He is best known for his comedic sensibilities and his voice work, notably, I would say, as one of my childhood favorites, the sarcastic Salem the Cat in Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, and all of its spin-offs. In addition to his on-screen roles, though, Bakay has an impressive resume as a writer and producer, having collaborated with Lorre on projects like 2.5 Men and Mom. Together, Lorre and Bakay have combined their talents to create memorable television that resonates with audiences through their humor, heart, and sharp wit. Here they are, Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay. first of all, thank you so much, Chuck and Nick, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. So Bookie is awesome, and season 2 continues with that mix of funny and dramatic, and there's family and relationships and all kinds of stuff. What was it that that made you want to do this project for both of you?
I think for me, it began with meeting Sebastian a couple of years ago, and the original discussion was, is there a way to translate his stand-up act into a series of some sort? And I really didn't know how to do that. I did not know how to make that transition. Then I saw The Irishman, where he played a psychotic, crazy Joe Gallo in a scene opposite Bob De Niro and Joe Pesci, and he was terrific. And then the other problem then was I don't know how to write a series about a psychotic killer and make it funny. I really don't. So I brought this problem to Nick, and Nick, without hesitation, said, make him a Bookie. and we were off and running. We presented the idea to Sebastian, and he blessed it. And here we are. It's just about to release season 2.
And how about for you, Nick?
Well, it was the same thing. Chuck reached out to me about working with Sebastian, which was the quickest yes ever, because I think that was easy and obvious. And then it was this idea, and then it became really exciting for me and Chuck, also because it let us deviate from the norm of multicam and a living room set and the usual drill. And the more we explored that, the more fun we had. And also I think we had a really, really special time writing the relationship with Omar Dorsey's character Ray and Sebastian's character. That these two guys, not only the messes of their private lives, but I think one of the joys of the show is just these two guys when they're in the car together making their rounds and the things they get to talk about. I think we have more fun writing that than anything.
Yeah, that's actually the romantic heart of the series, is those two guys.
Yeah, and that's what I find enjoyable is, first of all, I love that you didn't go with the multicam for this one, because I feel like it's where it needs to be. It's so perfect the way it is. And as you said, that heart, the two relationships that I, as a viewer anyway, care about the most is those two and their interactions with each other. How did those characters develop as you saw, Sebastian and Omar together over the first and now second season?
Well, I mean, look, these guys, when we saw them read together when we were auditioning, it was immediate that these guys were meant to play these parts together. I mean, Sebastian was locked and loaded. Omar was immediately our guy. And like Chuck has said, they looked like an old married couple from Jump Street. and then it really was, and we knew we had this nice thing of this, like we have this, this sort of hard scrabble Bookie and this guy who is an NFL player who blew it, right? And I always loved exploring the idea of that guy who bought his grandmother the house with the NFL money and then had to move her out of it, which is, with the story you never hear, but has happened, but also his love for that grandmother is, one of the redeeming parts of the show as well. But it really, a lot of it is listening to your actors, listening to what they do well and how they relate to each other and rolling with it. And season 2 gave us a chance to really capitalize on that.
And finally, how long can you go? I mean, I would love to see their adventures forever.
Well, let's call David Zaslav and ask him.
Let's go for it.
Hi, Dave. We'll find out. We'll find out. I mean, there's so many more stories to tell, and we love these characters. So we're hoping.
I love that. Thank you both so much. I can't wait for everybody to see Bookie season 2 exclusively on Max. Thank you, Chuck and Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, Kyle.
Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay, two brilliant minds in the world of television comedy, and I am honored to be able to have them on the show. So thank you, Chuck. And Nick, I really do appreciate it. All right, last but not least, Sebastian Maniscalco and Omar J Dorsey are two very dynamic talents who have made significant impacts in their fields. Sebastian, who of course has been on the show before, Sebastian Maniscalco is a renowned stand-up comedian and actor celebrated for his energetic performances, his sharp observational humor, and his vivid storytelling. Drawing inspiration from his Italian-American upbringing, he delivers hilarious takes on family, culture, and those awkward moments of everyday life. Omar J. Dorsey is a powerhouse actor known for his commanding screen presence and nuanced portrayals. From his role as Hollywood in Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar to his performances in films like Selma, which, I was in, and the Halloween franchise, Dorsey has consistently brought authenticity and depth to all of his characters. Together, these two artists represent the best of their craft, each contributing to the world of comedy and entertainment with charisma, talent, and dedication. Let's talk to them, Sebastian Maniscalco and Omar J. Dorsey. Congratulations on Bookie Season 2. I love it just as much as I love Season 1. I wondered what drew you both to the project. Sebastian, start with you.
It was something that, I gravitated towards because I've played myself in a lot of these TV or film things that I've done, whether it be about my father or a pilot that I did 8 years ago playing myself. And I like the fact that this was a character. This is based in Los Angeles. It was about a topic that I found interesting. I've never really seen a TV show dive into the world of gambling like this. We not only cover gambling, but we also cover these guys' personal lives, what we're dealing with at home, which I don't think, sometimes you just have a connotation of a bookie as some guy breaking legs, collecting money. You don't really see that he's got a wife and he's going to a PTA meeting or, he's got other responsibilities, whether it be in this season, my mother-in-law moving in with us, or Ray dealing with his grandmother and what's going on living with her. So I like the fact that you see the gambling and you also see the personal life.
Yeah, and how about for you, Omar?
What drove me to it is like I was doing so much drama, right? Then all these drama films and being on the show for 7 seasons, there's so heavy drama. I said, I just want to go somewhere and have fun every day. And when I saw that it was Sebastian and I saw that it was Chuck Lorre and Nick Bakay, I've been watching Nick Bakay since ESPN, right? And Chuck Lorre is the godfather of comedy on television. So I really tried my best to get into this project. I said, I really want to do it really badly. So I put up my best foot forward in my auditions and, I got in there. But, just being able to go to work every day and laugh and have fun and just being around that crew that we're around, it really drew me to it. So that was the main selling point for me.
Yeah, I was just speaking with Chuck and Nick, and we were discussing how the two of you are really, the romantic heart of the show, if you will. Like, and as a viewer, I love the whole thing, but it's the two of you and your relationship with each other that really is like, you don't see that so often in TV today. And I think the way you play off of each other, your characters and their relationship, I think is such a huge key to it being so damn good,
Right. It's like they're work spouses. You have your work husband, your work wife. Yeah. It's like these guys are in this car or in that office for 10 to 12 hours a day, and they have to learn how to live with each other. So whether it's he doesn't want to listen to my hip hop or I don't want to listen to his yacht rock, we have to figure a way out about that. Yeah. We've got to figure out a way to coexist. But they're best friends. It's a love story between two dudes who really just love each other and they love spending time with each other, and they have a really cool job. So I do believe that's the heart and soul of the show. So yeah, Danny and Ray are the ones that, I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody else around it are really good, and we're really excited to see everybody. But I do think that heart and soul of it is Danny and Ray.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sebastian, the last time I spoke with you was out in Chicago for About My Father. And, through your stand-up, through other projects that you've done, so many have been personal. How much of you is in this character?
Yeah, I think there's a sensitivity to Danny that I could definitely relate to. I mean, I'm not a guy like killing people for money here. And I'm not breaking legs or anything like that. There's a bit of compassion that this guy has for not only the people that he's in business with, but, yeah, he's got a girlfriend and a wife. He's definitely flawed. Not that I have a girlfriend, but he's a sensitive guy, and I kind of relate to that sensitivity and that compassion that you typically might not see from a criminal who has done time in prison. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you both so much. I can't wait for everybody to see Bookie Season 2 exclusively on Max. Thank you both.
Thank you, Kyle.
Appreciate it.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Omar J Dorsey. Hilarious guys. Bookie is amazing, and you've got to watch it. Season 2 is out right now on HBO, and you will not regret it if you haven't watched it yet. So hit me up and let me know what you think about Bookie, and let me know what you think about this episode and, all the guests, and what was your favorite anecdotes or stories or whatever. I want to hear from you using the free iHeartRadio app, the talk button there, or podcast.popcultureweekly.com, and click on the talkback button there. All right, that is our show for this episode. I can't wait to see you next time. We have some Christmas stuff, holiday stuff planned. So be sure to check it out and let me know what you think, too. What are your favorite Christmas movies? What are your worst favorite? No. What are your least favorite Christmas movies or most hated Christmas movies? Let me know, and we just might feature you on the next episode. All right. Until next time, I love you.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Bookie, get all this cookie. Bookie, don't you want this fun? Hey.